Cutie pies, I am doing a follow-up message on the US debt. It is related to crypto. It is macro all around us. And I'd like you to know that when you see the things that I see, you will be able to go forward with strength and be able to envision what 2030 is going to look like. And as a result, are your crypto bags going to be higher or lower? Are we going to go to zero? What's going to happen with the US debt? Where is the debt and GDP? Now, I made this post, which was a bit of a pickle situation for others because they were not completely aware of the US debt to GDP ratio and what's going on. We're going to go through one of the kind baby doll comments to explain what's been happening from their perspective. Now, the US 10-year yield is about 4.1%. And because it's 4.1%, that makes it very difficult for the US government to keep paying off the debt without cutting any entitlements. Don't forget, see, it's not so easy to sit there and say, well, just cut them. You can't. Why? You have to cut the downtrodden of society. You have to cut the baby dolls, us, the outsiders. You have to cut the welfare. You put yourself in a very dangerous situation as a politician. Why? It's because if you start to do this, people will then have a hyper focus on your past, and then they will be able to see that you have been whipping them the whole time. You have been robbing the treasury. You have been robbing the country. You have been robbing the people, the downtrodden of society, the middle class, the lower class, and everybody in between. You've been destroying them, all for the selfish gain of politicians in their pursuit of power, money, and of course the alien tech that they want to keep hidden from everybody else. It's not so easy to just go out in front of people and say, yep, we're just going to slice your entitlements and your benefits and your 401ks and everything that you've been working for your whole life because you ran out of money. You can't do that. There will be a revolution overnight. This is the government's worst nightmare. They hate chaos. They go to order. But I'm going to show you something. I have a comment here from Sir or Madam Ash. So Ash has made a comment about the US debt to GDP. So just as a quick rundown, I'm talking about the yield of the 10 years around 4.1%. And here I am, I'm speculating, right? I go, if the yields go down, more money will have to take risk on assets to make up for their loss. And they will go seek risky investments, such as stonks, such as crypto, such as the other risk on assets. And when that happens, we're going to get a bit of a pump. But of course, it all comes down to the US debt to GDP. They have a lot of debt. And here is a cute Peppy riding the magic carpet. But I want you to know that this is Ash. So from Ash's perspective, he sees it a bit differently. So Ash saying, look, unfortunately, the debt thing is overblown. Now, I'm going to show you a chart here, friends. It's not overblown. So look at this up here. It is not overblown. It is an actual big issue. It's the issue of our lifetimes. It is the guiding issue. But I'm here to continue. We're just going to go through Ash's opinion and thoughts. I love every single one of you, friends. Like, subscribe, bell button, and all. Don't forget, I appreciate every single one of you. We don't have to agree on everything. We're not meant to agree on everything. We have different lives. We grew up in different parts of the world. We see things differently. Okay, so, but if we all have straight postures, we're all going to make it. So look at this. Ash is saying, the debt's overblown. If you look at the US debt relative to GDP, you'll find that the debt is on a normal course and even better than the past. So this is where I'm just going to stop you and just share with you the chart here. So Ash is talking about those of the past. This is not correct information, okay? But that's okay, it's hard to retain everything out there. I'm here 18 hours a day providing you the highest free value content out there because I here love and respect you and you deserve better. You deserve way better than what's out there than feeding you junk. This is feeding you the truth. So we're up to about 125%. And in previous times, it was never, ever this high, ever at all. Only came here in World War II. We're going to go through a bit of that later on. So Ash then saying the size is irrelevant if the GDP is larger to support its interest payments. So he's just talking about the ratio here. But look, I've just shown you the chart. It's actually worse than it's ever been before. It's not a figment of our imagination, friends. But, I just want you to know that when I come across this, so a lot of people ask me, I get asked all the time, man, how do you make everything like appear and put all the pieces of the puzzle together and then deal with people who just say, you know what, that's actually junk. That means nothing. You're wrong. And I want you to know, friends, I have so much experience between measuring people and how they speculate and measuring people, how they give like a report in front of like a little high school room. Those are two different environments. When it comes to speculation, people's opinions and feelings will change based off, you guessed it, the green candles or the red candles. The price, the signal that is happening based off human emotions dictate a lot of what people actually govern themselves. When they think, you know what, I believe that this thing is relevant or it is not relevant. A lot of it comes down to them observing the price chart and saying, well, it's this way, and then they reverse engineer it. All right. It takes a very special type of peanut brain, which all of you are. You're very capable of it. You are a strong warrior. It takes somebody to go through all of it and say, you know what? Screw the market, they're wrong. But when you see these super long-term trends, you get to see that market just goes wrong for like years and years, and then it eventually mean reverts time and time again. It's just that if you were to live it day by day, it would look like it's never ending. So because our debt has been going up, what's been happening is debt's been going up and market's been going up and assets have been going up. So what people say is they go, well, that means the debt isn't as bad of an issue, right? Because everything would have been crashing by now. But no, it's not. I mean, there are periods where this thing goes up for like 5 to 8 years and then comes back down. So it's something to think about, because you got to make a distinction between these super long-term trends and what's actually happening day to day. But don't forget, if you're riding a long-term trend, that's why you take a 10-year view. If you can take a 10-year view, you ride that trend, you will crush it. And we're going to go continue as well. So, you know, Ash says as well, so it's a common myth as common man thinks the large debt is bad, but in reality, they need to go and check the GDP level ratio to further understanding. So this is, see, all of this, Ash's wonderful words, all of it solved by this nice, clean chart, just to share with you that it's not actually true. Like, it is huge as well. So everybody in the comments, you know, I'm probably going to read my reply here when I post it out here. Just let you know, okay? Look, this is what happened in the past, okay? I can tell you what happened in the past, and I can tell you with 100% confidence they're going to try to do it again. And I don't say 100% confidence very often. This only happened once. They've only got one playbook. So this is the debt to GDP, okay? Obviously, if the debt to GDP goes up, it's really bad because you own a lot of debt, you know? Like, you got a credit card bill of $50,000, but you're only making $12,000. So in World War II, they released government bonds. The government took on a lot of debt. And they released war bonds. They call them war bonds. And it was basically the president went to the American citizens, every country in the world, and they said, look here, we've got to take on the dude with the mustache. And his mustache, it sucks. He thinks he's got a good mustache. It doesn't. All right. Now, this guy has to be taken out, and there's nothing we can do about it. Sorry, you were born in the wrong period. Sorry, you've got to go work. Sorry, we've got to go to war. And if we don't do it, evil's going to conquer the world, and it's over. So it is what it is. Suck it up. That was the mentality of everyone back then. There was no, oh, let's argue, should we go fight him or not? No. You had to go to war. They had to print money. They had to raise the war bonds. They had to get the funding. And they did. And then it went up. This is for war. And if you notice, it went down. You're wondering how? How did this thing go down over the years? So this is what they did, friends, okay? So there was war, right? We're going to draw this little gun here, this war period, okay? What they did was, the war turned into money debt. So write debt, all right? That's what they did. And then to get rid of the debt, what they did was they used the money printer. Let's just write a printer. That's what they used. They used the money printer. They printed money for over 10 years. And what did this lead to? This printer led to inflation of 10%. 10% CPI. They let it run hot for a decade. I'm not making this up. You can go look it up yourself. Okay, we know. I am you looking it up right now. I am your research. So they let inflation run super, super, super hot for 10 years. And people didn't know any better. I mean, who the hell knew what was going on? You know, this is before Game Boys. No one knew what a Pikachu was back then. So you think, okay, the government's safe. We just went through a war, but it wasn't safe at all. The thing to do was actually be in the stonks. That was actually the thing to do. So what ends up happening is the debt gets inflated away over a period of 10 years. But you think, okay, yay, the debt got inflated away. You see this chart going down. Great. So on one hand, if you're a government worshipper, the overlords, the bug eaters, the globalists, you just say, yes, they did their job. But what you don't know is what happened to the people who held Fiat. What happened to the people who owned the trash currency. They lost 50% purchasing power over that decade. Yes, let's do a big negative sign. I'm not making this up. That's right. 50% of your purchasing power was lost. So if you had $10,000 in savings, by the end of that decade, that 10-year period, you could only buy $5,000 worth because of that much inflation. That's how they paid off the debt. They used the money printer. They kept printing and printing away. And what ends up happening is, so, I get asked a lot, how does actually the money printing pay it off away? Pay it off. Well, here's the thing. Every year, me and you and everybody else, we do activities in the economy. People work, people buy and sell food, we trade, we buy fluffy slippers, we spin around, we even construct squeaky chairs. And what ends up happening is we raise the GDP by the year. Okay, and that GDP is economic activity, and that basically is income for the economy. But every year, it's like plus 5% because you just came out of the war, right? So every year, it's plus 5%. If you compound that over 10 years, you end up paying it off. But when you look back at it, you go, wait a minute. So how did it get paid off again? Well, the answer is people in the economy just kept working basically for free while losing money without even knowing it. So you think, no, there's no way this is possible. Yes, it's possible. This is the playbook, man. It's printing money. There's either print money or default. They're not defaulting. No way. In fact, this is actually a default, but it's called a soft default because you basically say we can't afford it now, but what we're going to do is for the next 10 years, the people of the economy are going to work for our fiat wages and they are going to create a bid for the inflation and we're going to use that to pay off the debt. And that's what end up happening. And that's how you get it down every year. So every year what ends up happening is the GDP was going up and up and up, but they were printing the money. That's how everything got paid off. So this was the playbook. This is the playbook. When debt gets this high, there's only one way out. That's why they have to let inflation run hot. And that's specifically why when I see this chart, I know they're full of crap. I know the US Fed and everybody's full of crap. They only have one play in their playbook. They have to make everybody deal with high inflation. That's why, friends, it's so important for them to get every metric down, all of them down. In their perfect world for the government, what they actually do is, this is what's been happening, okay? They want headline inflation to say 2.5%. But their money printing in the background, it's more like 7%. You know that, but you can look up the M2 money supply growth. On average, it's actually 5% every year. Let's do 5%, but let's be intellectually honest. The average is 5%. Sometimes it's 8, sometimes it's 2, but on average it's 5%. You can see there's a difference here. So what's going on here? I mean, this is a big number, okay? I know these numbers don't look much to you, but this is me and you. Me and you in the economy, we see the headline data from the economists. They go, oh, inflation's 2.5%, 3%. But how much money did they print? They printed 5. Where's that other 2.5 going? Gee, I wonder. It doesn't take a genius to figure it out. It's getting siphoned away. It's being robbed. That's why the elites make all the money, friends. That's why the elites make money in the assets. They're not holding the trash currency that's getting deflated. Why? Because here's the thing. Me and you, quote unquote, we think the inflation's only 2.5% per year. But if you look at the money supply, it's actually 5%. So where's that difference going? It's going to every scam pothole in the world you can think of. There's no transparent blockchain. That's why crypto solves the biggest problem on earth. Fix the money, fix the world. Because now you can see where the money's going. You're like, wait a minute. You said this thing was going for the government, but it's kind of going out to these different countries, and then this company, and then you've got some UFO tech over with Skunk Works and all the other, like Lockheed Martin and stuff. We would be able to see it. But now, through the shadows, they can operate. That's why this debt to GDP, it is a serious, real issue. But here's also what's serious and real. The beautiful part is we know how to conquer it. You just don't hold fiat. That's why I make a lot of jokes and I have a lot of fun telling you stable coins are trash. They're trash. This is the playbook. Now, of course, it's going to take 10 years. That's why I tell you to take a long-term view. And you know what? Here's a civil war of America. It might take some while. But on average, that's what's going to happen. You're going to find crypto's just going to keep going up. Why? Because they keep printing the currency. This is part of their plan. Don't forget, there are periods where it stops and starts. They're not just going to go print full willy-nilly. Okay, but there's going to be periods where it stalls. So it's going up and then it stalls. And then everyone thinks, uh-oh, like the government's got it on track. No. No. They're gonna print again and get this GDP, the debt to GDP ratio down. Then it's gonna stall again. Don't worry. Then they're gonna print again and get it again. That's what's gonna happen. So look, you can choose to believe me or not. I don't really care. All the facts are here. I mean, no one would actually disagree with this, by the way, just to tell you. No one would disagree with this. If you go speak to economists and people within the system, they don't deny this is happening. Do you know what they tell you? They tell you that it's not an issue because we are inventing new productive things in the economy. That's what they'll say. They'll tell you like, well, you got electric cars. And, you got faster computers and you have like new Game Boys now. You can play the new Pokemon. So, yeah, you're losing purchasing power on one end, but you're actually improving a quality of life. Now, what I will say to that, it's a big fat baloney. Don't believe their lies. That is fake news media put out to just brainwash and groom the population into not riding. But we know the truth, friends. And don't forget, you know who else knew the truth? Maybe you've heard of him. His name is Satoshi. Satoshi knew this. That's why Bitcoin is invented in the first place. So don't worry. You take a long-term view, keep your back straight, wear your fluffy slippers, tell mum and dad you love and appreciate them. I'm going to catch you in the next one.